What's up, my fellow demigods? We have finally made it. It is time to discuss the 8th and final episode of Percy Jackson and the Olympians, Season 2, aka Percy Jackson and the Olympians, The Sea of Monsters. This episode is, of course, titled The Golden Fleece Works a Little Too Well. And like I said, this is the finale of the second season, but we did get official announcements that Season 3 will be premiering this year because they did film Seasons 2 and 3 back to back. So we'll be getting the Titan's Curse stuff very, very soon, which I'm excited for because the Titan's Curse is probably my favorite book of the series. It's between Titan's Curse and Battle for the Labyrinth, or Battle of the Labyrinth. Last Olympian is very good as well, but Titan's Curse and Battle of the Labyrinth are kind of the ones I flop back and forth between as my favorite books of the original 5 Percy Jackson and Olympians books. So I'm very excited to see Season 3. And Season 2 has been really solid as a whole, to be honest. So, I'm very excited to talk about this finale overall. And as per usual, thank you for your support. I appreciate all the love these videos have been getting. And if you haven't already, I know I barely started the video, but I'm going to do the usual YouTube thing, be a little bit annoying, and say, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe, as well as hitting the notification bell. And if you're watching this within the first week of its release, hit that hype feature because it really does help to push the video out to other audiences and get me in that good old magic algorithm of the gods. So really appreciate it. So thank you for doing your part. Remember, guys, it's all free to take a second of your time, but I appreciate the support regardless. And as per usual with these recaps / reviews, I will be discussing full-on spoilers. I won't spoil book stuff, at least I'll try not to, and if I do feel like I have to talk about some book related stuff, I will mention book spoilers before I actually say the spoilers, so no worries there, show only people. But yeah, let's go ahead and just jump into it. This was a great episode. I really enjoyed it. So I'm gonna kind of skip around. I'm not gonna go in order. I kind of just want to talk about stuff that I liked about the episode overall. I really enjoyed the scene with Percy and Sally because this conversation is super important. Percy hasn't really gotten to unpack his feelings about the first season and about his initial journey to Camp Half-Blood with Sally, and he doesn't have a conversation like this until later on. So including Sally in here was really nice. I like that they're including Sally more, and Sally has a bigger role in the show. Obviously Sally is a big part of Percy's character in the books, but she does not show up as much as she does here in the show, and I really do appreciate it. Also, Poseidon's scene is really well done. Also, in this, the show definitely makes an effort to make Poseidon more sympathetic and more caring. Not to say that in the books it seems like Poseidon doesn't care, but he doesn't feel as clearly conflicted as this version of Poseidon is. Book Poseidon feels like, there's nothing really I can do. It's kind of just the way things are. It's just how I got to do it. It's kind of like a cog in the machine kind of thing. Whereas this Poseidon, he seems remorseful and he feels terrible about having to put all this pressure and these burdens onto his son. And maybe it's just kind of the benefit of actually getting to see an actor portray the role, because the actor who plays Poseidon does a really good job, especially with just body language and facial acting. You can just really feel how torn he is just by the fucking wistful looks he gives to Percy. And man, like they talk about how in the books that Poseidon and Percy look alike, and you know have the same eyes and all that. This like it really shows here, and just the small little acknowledgments and how awkward Poseidon is as a dad. It's just like he doesn't really know what to say. He's just like, you know, you've grown, which by the way is like understatement. Like Walker has shot up in terms of like difference between season 1 and season 2, and like that's why it's like, okay, I'm glad you guys are filming so close together, because like if we wait too long, the Percy's gonna look like he's 16, you know, before we actually hit the proper time. So that was cool. We do get to see a lot more of Thalia in this episode. We get to like a more full flashback of Thalia and like her, Luke, and Annabeth's first arrival at Camp Half-Blood. And I will say, at first, when we first got the Thalia reveal early in the season, I want to say not early, but earlier, because in the books, right? Spoiler for the books, if you do plan on eventually reading Sea of Monsters. Spoiler for the books. Sea of Monsters ends on the cliffhanger of Thalia being back, which I guess this episode kind of does as well, but we didn't know that the Golden Fleece was gonna bring Thalia back to life. That was like a what? Mic drop kind of plot twist in the book, which is why like when they revealed it and just kind of said it out loud, it was like, wait, but if the audience already knows, then like what's the big shocker what at the end of the season gonna be? And I'm not gonna lie, I kinda like what they did here. The big shocker at the end of the season this time, as opposed to just the reveal of Thalia herself being brought back, is oh shit, Thalia's who the Great Prophecy is about. She's gonna be the one to destroy Olympus because she's gonna be sympathetic towards Luke's cause and be an agent of Kronos. And you definitely have a lot of reason to believe that because of what we saw with the extra stuff of Luke's crew and Luke's cause and what Luke is trying to do and kind of the angle Luke sees things from. Now, whether or not Thalia is actually going to be an agent of Kronos, I obviously will not spoil for show-only people. And book readers, please do not spoil anyone in the comments. I would really appreciate it. But that is a good way to leave fans who haven't read the books on this whoa cliffhanger. Obviously, book readers, we already know where it's going to go, so it's not as much of that. But I do like that this is a way of doing that type of twist that we got from the book, but making it slightly different, especially because this was set up very early on, given Percy's dream early in the season. So I thought that was really cool. And I can't wait to see more of Thalia. And this was also our first look at the new Zeus post Lance Riddick. Rest in peace. And he did a pretty good job. You know, it was only one scene, so I can't judge it like at full force. I want to wait till I see more of a performance from this gentleman. But he definitely has Zeus's "you will obey me, no one defies the king of the gods" type attitude that you would expect from Zeus. I also like his fit. I think his fit was very appropriate, very suave and dapper. I mean, Zeus is notoriously ancient Greece's biggest dickhead. And, you know, of course, horn dog extraordinaire, we all know this. Like 90 to 95% of the Greek hero / demigod population belongs to Zeus. You know, That's one of the things I always found funny about the Percy Jackson books. They talk about the big three, you know. It's rare to have the big three have children, right? And I get it, in modern times they made the pact so they wouldn't have as many because, you know, children of the big three are powerful. But, like, come on, you guys. You know the tales. You might be able to convince Hades to stop having children, right? Hades is a reasonable dude if you go by actual Greek mythology. Hades is very level-headed. Hades would listen, for the most part. Poseidon is also a bit of a horn dog. So Poseidon, it's a little shaky. But Poseidon in the Percy Jackson universe might listen. Zeus stopped having children, even as a, you know, middle schooler. Because I love Greek mythology, that always made me laugh. Because, like, Zeus always has children. Almost all the problems that come from, like, Greek heroes and Greek mythology is because Zeus fell in love with some lady. And or dude. So, like, what are we talking about here? But that's just a quick Greek mythology tangent. But yeah, so Thalia refuses to be a weapon for Zeus in his upcoming war against Kronos, because, you know, obviously it was already predicted that like the Olympians would end up in some kind of great war in the future. So since she refused, Zeus is like, alright, you want to defy me? Bet. Turns her into a tree, which is, like, you know, one of Zeus's favorite moves for people who defy him. Could have been a whole hell of a lot worse, Thalia. I could tell you a bunch of stories that definitely did not go well for people who defied Zeus. So, you know, ask Prometheus. That's all I gotta say. At least he just turned you into a tree. But regardless, Chiron is then ordered by Zeus to lie because, you know, Zeus is like, look, I can't have this bad PR, Chiron. Help me out here, bruh. You gotta lie to them so I don't look bad, which is a Zeus move. Zeus, of course, does not want to lose the adoration of his people, so he makes people around him lie to make him look better. That's what Zeus does, because, as I said, Zeus is ancient Greece's biggest dickhead. Most of the gods are massive dickheads, but Zeus is king of them for a reason. But yeah, so that was an interesting way to kind of showcase that, and to again showcase how messed up the gods are and how badly they treat their children, which, like, you know, on the one hand, like, makes you feel for Thalia, but also makes you understand, all right, maybe Luke was kind of onto something. Like, taking our own fates into our hands might be for the best. Which, again, the show does a better job at selling Luke's cause than the book does, in my opinion. Like, Luke in the book, and I think, and, you know, again, I don't blame Rick for this. This was written for kids, and it was written in the, like, you know, mid-2000s. But Luke kind of just seemed like the bad guy, and his, you know, arc in, you know, he has an arc towards the end, of course, and you get to see more of his cause and, like, kind of how he feels about stuff and, like, why he's doing it. But it's introduced a little too late in the books. The fact that we get this in season 2 as opposed to season 4 or 5 when we would get it in the books, I think is a much smarter move. I think it's also a smarter move to introduce the Great Prophecy this early, because it helps to add that sense of urgency and put that kind of ticking time bomb on the war with Kronos and the plot, which sense of urgency is kind of what we didn't really have in season 1. You didn't really feel the stakes, and you didn't ever feel nervous that Zeus and Poseidon would go to war in the first season. Here, Kronos is a threat. You see that they've invaded Camp Half-Blood, and they almost got through, and it was a nail-biter. The Battle of Half-Blood Hill was pretty fucking good, and I will admit, last week you could go back to my video from last week, my review of episode 7. I was like, isn't it kind of weird that we haven't addressed the multiple traitors within Camp Half-Blood that Luke talked about at the end of season 1 that Percy kind of brings up in the beginning of season 2? We haven't addressed that, like, recently. And what do you know? Here we go. This is where it gets addressed. And again, this just goes to show kind of the show using extra content to its advantage. I really feel for Clarice. Her crush turned out to be a traitor and is part of Luke's, like, Camp Half-Blood infiltration inside squad. And I'm just like, aw, dang, that sucks for you, Clarice. I actually feel bad. And also, just praise for Clarice. I like the just moment of awkwardness and then, like, just show of respect between her and Percy, and then, you know, immediately it just goes back to normal. It's just like, just give me a shut up, Jackson. And it's just like, shut up, Jackson. And I'm like, okay, here we go. We're good. She's not just a completely different character. I mean, she's definitely a completely different character from the books, but I think that's more so because we actually get to know her more in the show, which you didn't get to know Clarice and in the books until later. And even when we did get to know her, it was only very surface level. But again, I also think it's a benefit of actually seeing the, like, physical acting from the characters as opposed to reading it in the book and just using your imagination. Like, unlike most people, I actually genuinely believe these kids are doing a great job in terms of their performances. Like, first of all, like, I don't get why y'all are being so freaking hateful towards children. First off. Now, I'm not saying you can't critique them, and I'm not saying that they've given, like, Oscar-worthy performances, but their performances have been really solid. And I gotta say, the standout for this season is Dior, Clarice's actress. She, like, if I could give, like, an MVP actor of the season, it has to be Clarice. Now, Walker has finally had more Percy moments. Like, his stare down with Luke and their confrontation during the Battle of Half-Blood Hill. Great stuff. Straight up Percy Jackson, like jump into the thick of things type action. And finally we get more action, which is one of the, like, big issues we had of season 1. I feel like season 2 has had much more consistent, higher quality action than season 1. So definitely much improved in that regard. But yeah, overall, I thought this episode was great. And it sets up for season 3 very well. And I can't wait to see what happens next. Especially because, like I said, I absolutely love the Titan's Curse. And the Titan's Curse introduces my personal favorite character in the Percy Jackson series. If you know, you know. Don't mention it to people in the comments, because people might accidentally stumble onto spoilers. But my favorite character is introduced in this third book / third season. Will be introduced. So I'm very excited. But yeah, Let me know all your thoughts and feels in the comments down below. As always, what did you think about the season overall? Did you think it was better than season 1? I definitely did. I will go in further depth about the season as a whole in a couple weeks when I put out the full podcast episode with my friends Tony and Brian, because in case you guys haven't noticed, this is the channel for our podcast. So as a kind of a companion piece to my review videos, we will put a full season 2 review where we'll all give our thoughts, and I'll give a more rounded and put together collection of my thoughts, as opposed to my off the top, fresh off the episode reviews. I've had more time to kind of sit with my thoughts and actually give a full critique on the season, so look forward to that. And if you are looking forward to that and want to see my full in-depth thoughts on the season, be sure to hit that subscribe button, notification bell, and hype feature as well. We have so much more content coming for you guys, so if you enjoy to hear me yap, definitely come back and check out the other TV shows and various bits of media that I plan to cover along with my friends here on the Channel Chasers Podcast channel. Until next time, it's your boy Jay, and I will catch you guys next time we enter camp. Until then, I'll catch you later, Half-Bloods. Peace.